We use it for everything. We use it from managing the employee files, virtual files. We use it to onboard employees. We use it for recruiting, and it's nice because it all rolls together. Even the I-9 and onboarding, you can do the I-9 virtually with everybody you're hiring remote. We use the surveys aspects quite a bit in it. I use the data insights a lot as far as like monitoring retention and things like that with employees and different factors that you just don't think about otherwise. As far as a use case, I don't know what I would specifically give you for that, but it does solve a lot of our issues. When I joined the company I'm at now about 4.5 years ago, they had used it. They had Paylocity already. It was implemented. They were not using it at all. I mean, they didn't have even titles in there. They didn't have hire dates in there. They would just put a hire date based on whenever they paid them the first time. And so it made me look really good when I go in and insert very basic information, and now they have an org chart, and now they have structured recruiting, and so it made me look really good really quick. I've used a lot of other, I don't say a lot, I've used two other companies that failed miserably, but the one thing I really appreciate about Paylocity is the recruiting aspect of it and how you can streamline it, because for most of my career, not now, thank God, most of my career was a department of one. And so I was doing it all. And so the recruiting piece that it does and how you can post internal, external, it'll track the applicants, you can do automatic disqualifiers, you can do automatic notices to employees, automatic stuff to managers that you can tag in there. For being a department of one for a long time, it really streamlined the process and made it look like it was more than one person doing the work. One thing that since I've been using you guys, and I let you guys know, and they've said, hey, they put it on the roadmap, if they're able to get to it. One simple thing that I think a lot of people I know that are, it's not frustration, it's just like a very simple thing to fix. When an employee submits a PTO request, an email goes to the manager like, hey, you need to approve PTO. There's no link. There's no nothing. So a lot of my managers who don't use it as much as I do, then they're confused and they got to go log in and there's no alert, there's no notification, there's no nothing. So whether it's a link in that email that takes them right to, hey, log in, here's your approval of PTO, or whatever it is, like that would be a huge, I can't tell you how many managers I've had to like walk through. Okay, I know it's not there. You have to log in. You have to go here. You have to go to approved time off, So that little simple thing would help a ton, I think. 10 by far. Yeah. I think it's well suited across the board. My last company was a lot bigger, and it works for, it doesn't matter what size you are, or what size. You talk to some of these payroll companies, and if you're not 200 employees or 500 employees, or like they won't even talk to you. Paylocity, of course they'll talk to you, but it works well for all size organizations. And price-wise, when I switched our last company from actually Paycom to Paylocity, it was a 30% savings, and I was getting everything they offered. It wasn't me picking and choosing and let's cut this back. So not only did I feel like the product was better, and it still is, but it was cheaper than the other competitors. Yeah, so I used Paycom before that, and prior to Paycom, I used Paycor. So those are the three main ones that I've used. And there's a reason I'm still with Paylocity 6 years later. I'm sure their platforms have come a long way in the last 6 years too, so I'm sure they're updated as well. My frustration with them is there was no one that was the subject matter expert on anything. Even when I was onboarded initially with both of those companies, you're constantly bounced from this person to that person, and then you got to retell them, okay, well, this is what we've done. I had to educate them on where we were in the process, which is frustrating. There never seems to be anyone that really, they have a tax team, with Paycor and Paycom, but there was constant issues with that, or not being advised correctly, or things weren't being filed, and I've never had any of those issues with Paylocity. I think by far it's definitely helped improve employee experience. Because we really integrate with every piece of it. And so from the initial recruiting, to them onboarding, and then fast forward to even performance reviews. We use the whole piece of it. It's really nice. And then you go into compensation management, where you're doing like merit increases and you have all that data to back it up on why you're doing what you're doing. So you've got their last performance review rating. You've got their data insights as far as like, are they a risk because they drive 57 minutes to work? Different factors that you can factor in. So I think it's, from a manager's perspective and the employee perspective, it's really, I think, helped from there in pulling it all together. That's probably, and I kind of forgot, I have used their time tracking before at my last organization, so it's been over 4 years ago. That was one hiccup that I didn't like, to be honest, and it was because, and I can't remember, they were two separate things, basically. So employees would go enter their time. When I did payroll, I had to go, like, pull a report, export it, then go and upload it into payroll, like, it should talk, and it was just too much. We had a lot of hourly employees, and it was a headache. That was the one piece that if they could kind of fix that integration, and surely they have by now, that was 4 years ago. But that was the one piece of them that I got away from. And in my company now, we have hourly, but it's like 3 people. So it's not really worth, messing with. But that's one piece. If they could kind of fix that, that would be good. The only one of those so far, I feel like we use a lot of your guys' stuff, but of all that, the only one I use is surveys. And I do like it. I think it's definitely, initially when you send out anonymous stuff, employees don't believe it's anonymous, because I'm the administrator and I can see it. And so I think they're finally to a point where we use it so much that they know it really is and they trust it. And so we've been really lucky to get really good, like, pulse survey stuff. We do roundtables with the CEO every week, me and the CEO do. And so I do pre-surveys to that. I do post surveys with that. And so that tool's been really useful because then, when I'm launching it, I can instantly share it with the CEO. So he's got the same data too. It's not something that, is modified or you're sent over. So I do like the surveys part of that. The other ones I haven't used. Community we haven't used at all. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Honestly, on my side of the house, it's just Paylocity. Yeah, it's really all I use.